Hi, I'm Hannah Howard, the editor-in-chief at Parent Co., and I'm really excited to be here today with our incredible panel of experts. We have three very knowledgeable and passionate women, Aimee, Sarah, and Allison, experts in milestones, experts in sleep, experts in potty training. And we're here today because tariffs are having a huge impact on our economy, especially when it comes to families and parents navigating getting the things that they want and need for their babies and young children. I'll start off by having everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll dive in a little bit more about what's going on and hopefully provide some tips and some help for families to navigate this wild world. Um, Allison, why don't you start us off by introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Allison Jandu, the owner and founder of Potty Training Consultant, and Village Expert of Potty Training here at Parent Co. And I have been in this business for the past 8 years. We've helped over 12,000 families to achieve diaper freedom, and we work with kids of all ages and abilities. And I'm so glad that we're here today to be able to talk about this important topic. And one of my main passions, as I'm sure as everyone else's, is to help families and provide, guidance and valuable resources and insight into what can be challenging milestones in little ones' lives. So I'm so glad we're here to have this conversation today.
Thank you so much, Allison. Sarah, why don't you take us away next?
Absolutely. My name is Sarah Bossio. I am a certified pediatric sleep expert and the owner of Your Zen Baby Sleep. I am the village sleep expert here at Parent Co. And I help parents with children ages 0 to 8 years old to get their sleep on track so that they can get better sleep. So it is my goal to make sure that families are creating sustainable sleep habits. And I know that tariffs can possibly have you up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., really worrying about your family's finances and, the country's landscape and the uncertainty that we may be hearing about in the news may be really top of mind right now. So I think this is a really timely topic to be discussing. And I'm really excited to be sitting here with these wonderful women to not only get your kids' sleep on track, but to be able to give you some tips and advice on how to ease your mind so that you can go back to sleep when you're up with those anxious thoughts at 2 a.m.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Aimee.
Hi, thank you, Hannah. My name is Aimee Ketchum. I am a pediatric occupational therapist. I practice in the neonatal intensive care unit with tiny, tiny babies. I am the owner and founder of Aimee's Babies, child development company. We provide parent education for parents of babies right up through kindergarten readiness. And I'm already seeing the tariffs affect us and the babies in the NICU where I work. We are seeing a lot of things on back order that are necessities for caring for babies. We're having a really hard time finding infant stethoscopes, baby wipes, diapers, all those types of things are on back order. Prices are rising. It's really stressful when families need a very certain type of specialty formula for their baby due to digestive issues or allergies or so forth. And a lot of these specialty formulas are imported from Europe. So they're seeing those tariffs and we're seeing the effects of that. And when a baby can't get the formula they need, that's a very stressful situation for the family and everybody involved. So I am looking forward to discussing some strategies and solutions today.
Thank you, Aimee. Yeah, those are some really poignant and powerful examples. I was wondering whether Sarah and Allison have any more examples of families they've worked with or clients who are struggling and just kind of how these tariffs are affecting parents right now.
Yeah, for me personally, I have definitely noticed that parents are kind of taking a step back from making the investment to, get the formal education in regards to potty training with purchasing, courses, books, consultations, things along those lines. And it's understandable, because there's so much uncertainty right now with like, how much extra money am I going to need to put aside next month for just household essentials and groceries and, all the things that you might need. So, from my perspective, that's where I think I've seen the biggest impact, is parents having to kind of reassess what is top priority and focus on purchasing those items and those essentials, so that they aren't, splurging necessarily on things that they might find extraneous, like that education, which they would normally be all in for and can make your lives easier. But that's just where, we're unfortunately as families having to make some cutbacks.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to Allison. I think that is definitely something that parents are considering making cutbacks on. So most of my business is one-on-one or group consulting. And I do see that parents are, considering, they're thinking maybe a little bit, not thinking twice, but just definitely making more conscientious decisions about jumping into a one-on-one or a group consulting type of a situation, because there is uncertainty in the markets. There's uncertainty with the economy, and that makes people a little bit nervous. And it's a shame, because they're having to put aside their sleep. They're having to put aside getting help with something that's so essential to their mental health, to their work, right? So in my opinion, like, you need to be able to sleep to be able to show up to your job, and to be able to show up as a parent, and to be able to show up to make the money that we're all really nervous about. And they're, making a choice of whether or not they're going to do that, or if they're going to DIY it, right? And these are the kind of decisions that we're really being put between a rock and a hard place to make in our society right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think being put between a rock and a hard place is exactly it. Especially as we all know, the work of parenting is just so hard in the best of circumstances. What advice do you have to families who are navigating this reality? How can they make sure that they're, taking care of their needs and planning the best that they can for the future in these very turbulent times?
Yeah, so I'll just sort of chime in here. I mean, child development is time sensitive, right? We can't pause child development because prices are soaring. Children still need opportunities to play and interact and learn and grow and build the skills needed to be ready for kindergarten. So I would really urge parents to think about how their children learn. And it doesn't always have to be buying every toy on the market. There's a lot of amazing toys that really grow with the child that I highly, highly recommend. These open-ended toys, like some of the Baby Einstein, like play mats that turn into things that children can sit up and play with, and then stand and play with, and those types of things that grow with the child are amazing and a really, really good investment. But also think about just those interactions, taking the children out to play, getting out to playgrounds, parks, free events in their community, where they can get those experiences and the important back and forth interactions with parents and other adults in their lives is really great learning opportunities for children. So kind of keeping that idea at the forefront, even if you're pausing, sending a child to a preschool that might be costly, thinking about how you can kind of make up for that by providing experiences, for that child throughout the day and weekend and so forth. I think that's, really important. And we can also talk about more concrete ways of, saving money on diapers and formula and those types of things. But I would say just, first and foremost, really continue to prioritize those interactions and early learning experiences.
I think that's a really good point, Aimee, because I think that doesn't have to cost any money necessarily. So all you have to do is just designate the time and energy and get a little creative and come up with ways that you can really connect with your child. And a lot of what I talk about with potty training is preparing them for the process before you get started. And that can a lot of just be done via play. You don't have to necessarily invest in an expensive drinking wet doll, for example. You can use a teddy bear that they already have at home and turn a Tupperware container into the toy potty. You can, instead of investing in a whole bunch of new books about potty training, most libraries have a really great section on potty training. So you can find little ways to save on things that you might have splurged on before, but that are temporary needs, right? Essentially, if all goes well, you're not going to need them for a super long period of time anyway. So having things, saving that for the investments that you need in, like, the potty chair and things that are super essential that you actually need, and then find ways to, shop secondhand or share with friends and those kinds of things for some of the extra little fun stuff that's not necessarily required per se, but is always helpful to have.
That was my thought with the shopping secondhand or sharing with friends. So if you think about babies and baby sleep and the baby gear, right? So we often look at our registry, right, when we're registering for the containers and the bassinets and all of the wonderful stuff that we think that we need, and we do need, right? But there's such a short period of time that we're using it. And oftentimes, I guarantee that you have friends and family members who have the gear that's sitting in the attic or the basement or a closet, and it's not being used. And I don't want you to be afraid or ashamed of borrowing. It's not only economical, it's also very sustainable in terms of earth friendly to be able to borrow things that are already used and probably were only used for a couple months or maybe not at all. So I can't even tell you how many times I've had clients come to me who have said, my baby never touched the bassinet, right? They went right to the crib, or they hated the bassinet, or et cetera, et cetera. So I think that there are a lot of cost-saving ways that you can find ways to lean on family and friends to get your essential safe sleep needs into your house, so that you can save for things that are really important for your family, whether it is, secondhand or borrowing. And then also, like we were talking about, Allison had mentioned too, there are free resources. There are a lot of experts, myself included, who have tons of free resources that are online. So I have a YouTube channel. I like to put out, one-on-one is not accessible to everybody, even in the best of economic times. So at Parent Co, we provide lots of resources for our families to make sure that sleep and early development and potty training is accessible to everybody. Go on YouTube, make sure that you find reliable experts who know their stuff and are giving you the best of the best, even if you're not paying for it, right? So those are options as well, if you're really nervous about trying to tighten your belt buckle.
Yeah, that's a solid point, Sarah, because about YouTube, I was thinking, I don't want parents to have to sacrifice, getting the knowledge that's, research backed and expert proven and all these things, to try to kind of hack it and like put pieces together yourself from Google or ChatGPT or something along those lines, where you don't know for sure if you're getting real good information. So I've actually moved to creating a YouTube channel as well, so that way I can still provide parents and families with that expert knowledge without, having to pay for it necessarily. So I'm still trying to find ways to support families, because I think it is just such an important time, especially now when you're already stressed about so many other things. You shouldn't have to sacrifice getting the support and the help that, you deserve.
Absolutely. Yes, I agree. And I'll just kind of add on there, my STEM Starts Now program is completely free. And it's something that parents can sign up with your baby's birth date. And then that generates a weekly newsletter tailored to your baby's age. So it'll tell you your baby's 6 months. Here's the developmental milestones you can expect to see. And here's some exercises and things to do to help them reach their next developmental milestones. So there's actually a lot of resources out there that are available to parents. And continuing on Sarah's point of lending libraries and gear swaps, if something like that doesn't already exist in your community, go ahead and start it. Start a Facebook group, start something on social media, because I guarantee other families are going through the same thing and wondering how they're going to pay for diapers and formula and baby gear. And that's something that even, clothes, but also diapers, babies grow out of the size and you still have half a pack left. So, I think it's a great idea to really network with other parents and other families and find out how you can help and support each other.
We just had cousins over for the holidays, and we passed along some baby stuff, that my cousin's sister had passed on to us. So it's really cool to see them getting all that love in the family. And also a plug for your local Buy Nothing group. That's another great resource for baby and kid goodies. Lots of treasures to be had. Um, okay, thank you so much. I always want to end on a message of hope. So, any words of wisdom or hopeful nuggets for parents navigating these stressful times?
I would just say, really think about some additional things like joining subscription programs. Sometimes they can be less expensive. Buying in bulk can be less expensive. Think about, trying not to panic buy, trying not to, stock up in advance on everything you need. Maybe just stocking up like 2 weeks or so that there's always enough resources to go around for everybody, and really continuing to support each other. And I think the most important thing is to just spend time with your child as much as you can. Really find those moments where you can, spend time together, learn from each other. And I think, we've been through rocky economic times before, and moms and dads are incredibly resourceful and creative, and nothing brings out those skills than the need to do those types of things. So I know that with the support of each other and the network and the community and the village that we've created, we'll be able to support each other through it.
I
Fantastic.
agree, Amy. That's what I was going to say too. Like, you're a parent, you have young kids, you're living a hard life already. You can do hard things. You survived COVID. We've survived, like Amy said, we've survived economic up and downs before. We will get through this. It might be a tough time for a while, but everything will come out fine on the other side. We're all here to support one another. I just want to extend the invitation that if anyone needs any support or anything, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to try to find resources for you or point you in the right direction. But let's just come together and support each other during this time, and I think we'll get through it, and we'll all be stronger because of it.
I love it, Allison. I agree with both Allison and Amy too. We can do hard things. I think parents are the most resilient group of human beings out there. I'm going to give a plug for moms specifically because I think moms are the real superheroes. You have, for the children, we can get through a tough economic time. So just remember that your kids are with you. If you have, if you've got the roof over your head and you've got your babies in your arms, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to make it through to the next day, and lean on your community, lean on us, lean on your family, lean on your friends, and we've all got your back.
So beautifully said. Yes, together we are stronger. Keep the conversation going. We have a new community space at Parent Co where you can ask questions and vent, share ideas. We're here for you. And thank you to our amazing panel of village experts. And we will keep the conversation going over at parent.com and Instagram at Parent Co Parents.